Okay.
All right. You've been telling me this, Richard. You've been telling me this. Your lack of confidence in the offensive coordinator since the day he was hired, and bang, here we go. But Mike Tomlin yesterday at his news conference tells me and tells everybody that he thinks the offense is headed in the right direction. I don't know what he's seeing here.
Well, I think he's he's an executive running a company who is not willing to throw out the baby with the bathwater. I think his bigger concerns are you better figure out a way to stop the run up the middle. Um, that's a big problem. And I don't know if it's personnel. I don't know where it is, but the Penguins are going to change what they sing at the arena when Canadian teams play. They're no longer going to sing something about Canada.
Oh, you're pulling my leg. You had me for a minute there. Yes. Can we call the I got another one that I heard today. You ready? My buddy sent me. Should we call the offense Canada Dry? Can we call it Canada Dry, the offense?
Great. That's great. How about I didn't call it when he was hired because I didn't really know him. But I did call it at the end of the year, and it was really underscored for me when Mike Tomlin said at the end of the year, indicated that he had thought about replacing him, but that he wanted to give it another year. Don't remember the exact quote, don't remember the exact conversation, but I do remember the conversation. And from that point forward, he's done nothing to reverse my train of thought at all. Nothing. And I see, I've been out of town tending to a special project, and but what I do see, and I managed to continue to watch and stay on top of it. I see, it seems like the players. I don't know about mutiny. What happens when a head coach loses the locker room. This head coach hasn't lost the locker room, but has this offensive coordinator lost the locker room?
Well, can I? I have an interesting vantage and take on that. If I could bring it to you, so you've had Freiermuth, you've had Johnson, you've had Trubisky, you've had someone else question the pace. Oh, Mason Cole question the pacing of this offense.
Claypool.
And Claypool and Mason Cole. Yes, all of those guys. Great call by you. All of those guys question the pacing of the offense and should we be quicker? Pittsburgh is such an old school town that normally, and the reaction I was waiting for from the fan base, from the phone calls that I get on our show, from social media, is a lot of people saying, shut up, get to work, you're the player, he's the coach, don't let the inmates run the asylum, so to speak. I have not heard that once. That's interesting to me.
I don't know, CD. Do you really think? Listen. I mean, when Bruce Arians was here, we ran him out of town. We hated him. Right? When who's the goofball that was here also?
Todd Haley.
The next offensive coordinator.
Yeah, Todd Haley.
Who?
Todd Haley.
You went out.
Todd Haley.
When he was here, we ran him out. So, I think that what level are we comparing to? Ken Wisenhunt was here. We didn't run him out. I think we liked him. And he gave us reason to like him. But we never seemed to be satisfied with the offensive coordinator. And what I'm surprised about is that the rumblings aren't louder from the fan base, because the fan base seems to be hung up on the quarterback. The fan base seems to be hung up on Kenny Pickett. And let me tell you, fan base, if I'm speaking to you all, the quickest way to destroy Kenny Pickett's future is to put him in there right now with the same offensive.
Okay. All right. This is where the meat of the conversation is. Then what is this? What is the point for Richard Bazzy where you have to make a quarterback change? Because look,
I would have done it right now. I would have done it, but I wouldn't do it without the coordinator. And you have to have the right coordinator. Obviously, I don't know who it is. I don't know where he is or who he is, but you have to have the right coordinator. And I might even make Brian Flores the coordinator, actually. It's a football mind. It takes a football mind. And that man's brilliant. He's a head coach. He knows how to call plays. And if you're going from a business perspective, you're not adding expense. You're actually going to reduce expense because both those people are still on your payroll right now. You move Brian over, you eliminate Canada's position, move Brian into the offensive coordinator for the rest of the year, and you just watch what happens to that.
See, you say, and this is something too that really interests me. People say, well, you have to have a different offensive coordinator, or you have to make changes before you put Pickett in. Yep. I think something, and I've never been the leader. I've never been the boss. I'm always just a foot soldier, so to speak. But sometimes don't you get to a point where making a change just to shake things up makes sense?
No.
You don't think so?
No, not your stakes are too high here. You've got a number one pick that could be your franchise quarterback. You can't make him your franchise quarterback yet because he has to earn that. So, but you have a guy who has the potential to be your franchise quarterback. Anything you do, you really can't. You have to think it through. There's more of a long-term play here than a short-term, satisfy a fan base.
So are you worried about ruining him if Matt Canada's his quarterback?
Yes.
Or his offensive coordinator?
Yes.
Like ruining him for years to come.
I don't know about years to come, but if yes.
Wow.
Possibly, potentially. And because I think he's responsible. I think Mitch Trubisky's perfectly capable of leading this team. I really do. And I really don't believe what you're seeing is Mitch Trubisky's failure. I think that part of what Mike Tomlin said yesterday is, he does see some progress in Mitch. I see it too. You see it, but it's short term because the game plan goes back to the game plan. And there's so many nuances, whether he can't call his own plays, he can't check it down. I don't know. I don't know where it is, but the result is it's not a fluid offense. And it's inconsistent. It's throw this, run this, throw this, run this. I don't know. How do you establish Najee? How do you establish him to be a dominant force as an NFL running back? How do you do that?
Well, it's too fractured. You're right. It's too, here's the easiest way that I know it's fractured. If I walk around and I'll use you as a case study. If I ask you, what is the Steelers' offensive identity? No one has an answer to that. They've got none. It's a hodgepodge and a mismatch of things thrown up against the wall. There's no linear progression. You would answer
that. So what's Green Bay Packers' identity?
Well, I think it's run the football when they need yards, lean on Aaron Rodgers to make big throws, and outscore the other team by, 10 points if need be, if they can. For the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it's Brady is a guy that distributes the ball. He's become a souped-up game manager in his later years. For Baltimore, whether you like him or not, it is let's use the legs of the quarterback and have him and minimize the big throws he needs to make. For the Steelers, it's trying to puzzle piece a bunch of different plays together that don't seem to fit.
Yeah, we haven't had we haven't had the consistency. You go down on the 2-yard line and you have a guy like Najee and you don't run the ball 4 times. I don't understand that. I don't care. Najee, you get that ball in the end zone no matter what. When Russ Grimm was here, do you remember Russ?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And Russ was a friend of mine, offensive line coach. And as the offensive line coach, he told me once that, a funny thing was one day in practice, the entire offensive line, just when the play was called, they did like pirouettes on the line, and they just kind of turned around. And they did that because he told them, I don't care what you have to do. I don't care if you have to grab him, this guy by this and that guy by that. I don't care if you do circles on the line. I don't care what you have to do. Your job is to protect that guy. That's your job. Now get it done. And I think there's a certain part of that, as crude as that is, and as probably a little bit of a stretch, but I think there's a point there that quit complaining about what you don't have, and let's get the ball in the end zone, guys, and let's put this man in a position to succeed. Not because I'm going to tell you, our undrafted other running back, I mean, that guy, that kid's running hard.
Jaylen Warren's just as good for me as Najee Harris. Najee Harris hurt or not, and he needs to be plugged in. At what point do you say, dead horse, it's beaten, I'm done with it? The offense is the offense, and there's problems on the defense that people aren't talking about because they're so worried talking about the offense.
Oh, I think you do. I don't think you just pick one. I think
No.
you do it all at the same time. I mean, I think, the defensive issues are the defensive issues. I don't have the breakdowns. I don't watch the game films. I mean, I know our talk of the day always is talking about Devin Bush, and we talk about, but then the other issues come in. I mean, you have kind of an older off a defensive line.
Yeah, well, Alu was 35 and beaten up when they signed him. He's played like he's 35 and beaten up, and now he's been supplanted as he's not going to be the starter. Montravius Adams is. I hate to play a game of I told you so, but when you had a guy that was 35 and beaten up, it seemed to be a tough sell to a lot of people. I thought it should have been to more people to bring him back.
Yeah, I agree. I don't understand it, but again, people much smarter than me make those decisions, and I just get to critique them.
Do you think it'll ever reach apathy with the Steeler fan base this year? What if they're 1-7?
You already have apathy. You already have them booing Mitch Trubisky. Right? You already have that.
Oh yeah.
And so, but it's misplaced. It's misplaced because remember, Kenny has he's homegrown. So it's not as much of a negative statement about Mitch as it is about a positive statement for Kenny. Kenny's homegrown product. He's practiced there. He's played there. It's his home field. So, people, and he's from here. So people want to see him because they love him, not because they hate Mitch Trubisky. And when they boo Mitch Trubisky, they really are booing Matt Canada.
Man, there's so much to unpack psychologically with this football team that I don't think I've been around a situation like this where then why wouldn't you just fire him mid-season, Richard?
Why would you wait till mid-season?
Why wouldn't you just fire him now, I'm saying? Why wouldn't you just get rid of him now and make that change?
Because he doesn't agree. He probably doesn't agree. I mean, I'm Monday morning quarterback looking at this saying, these are my thoughts, these are my concerns. I get to do that, but he's not paying me for my opinion. He is getting paid for his. So what I think doesn't matter, and he has much more insight, much more everything about the game of football than I do. If I asked him to come and run my automotive group, I'd say he'd be pretty successful also, but it would take him a while to understand the nuances.
I'm just lost on and I guess this is the totality, my whole point, what the moment is where you say, okay, well, we can't do this anymore. If we're not there yet, what is either offensive coordinator or quarterback or both? What is that moment? Do you have to be 1-7 at the bye week?
I don't know about that, but if you lose against the Jets,
right?
I mean, that's pretty. That would be a moment that you would have to pause, I think, and take a real good look. I think that you would have to watch. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
that's a key question for me. Like, everybody keeps delivering. Well, it's our goal and our ambition to get better. It's our goal and our ambition to continue to let Mitch Trubisky grow, who I like a lot. It's Matt Canada is really not going anywhere, is all indication you get from the Steeler facility. Well, how bad does it need to get to make a move? And that's where the frustration is with me. What's the drop-off point?
I'll be honest with you. If the Steelers get really bad, and I don't see that because they have so much talent.
Right.
If they get really bad and they finish the year really badly, I mean, I'd say anything's open season, anything. I mean, if I'm a Rooney and we come through this, because you have a logical excuse. Your excuse will be, well, we lost a franchise quarterback. Well, you lost a franchise quarterback that was on the way out, on the downside of the apex. And so maybe that really wasn't, because you do have two quarterbacks that are better than he was in his last year. So probably not going to accept that as an excuse.
Right. They'll tell you TJ Watt was hurt. That's what they'll tell you. I'm already I'm already telling you that's going to be their excuse.
Can't be.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you. All right. Well, will they beat the Jets then?
I think they have to be really careful with the Jets. I think who's the quarterback going to be for the Jets?
It is going to be Wilson. So apparently he was just cleared. It's not going to be Flacco, who I'd actually rather see Wilson than Flacco. I'm fearful of Flacco.
Flacco kills us.
Yes.
On the long touchdown throws, kills us. But so you got Wilson coming back. He likes to date his mother's friend.
There we go. Who doesn't? Anyway, so there's that.
What a way to be known. But so he's coming back, and I don't know if he's got talent. I don't know. They think he does, but I think you have to be careful with the Jets.
I'd be more afraid of Joe Flacco. I think if you're a Steeler fan, you have to celebrate Wilson coming back. Flacco in his prime, and he's not in his prime anymore, but he still has it one time here and there. He threw a better deep ball than anybody for about a 20-game span, a better deep ball than anybody I'd seen.
100% agree. Killed us. Killed us.
All right. So you think they're going to win? I think they are going to get it together. It may be a field goal fest, but I think the Steelers win. I don't know.
What do the smart people in Las Vegas say?
Steelers by 3.5 points. So I'll go 23-19.
I'll take the Jets and the points.
Oh, 1-point game for the Steelers. Hopefully it's better next week. We can be happier. But what if there's a blowout and then we can celebrate some?
Well, if there's a blowout and if it's the Steelers blowout, that's one conversation. But if we get blown out, wow.
It'll be like a funeral dirge. Yes.
When's the next home game?
Then it won't be until it won't be for a couple weeks then. It won't be it won't be. They go on the road twice in a row, I believe. So all right.
How do you like my hat?
Yeah, what's going on with your hat there? Is this a golf hat or what's happening here?
No. It's just trying to be 20.
Well, you look it. I mean, it's quite escape from the cowboy hat.
I know it's a little different. I'm going to the what would you call this? The athletic side?
Yeah, a country club side, I think. Maybe a little tennis. Maybe sit and order Perrier.
I think I should walk around or San Pellegrino.
Oh my gosh! Look at you. This is amazing. Do you look? You're to the point too, right? It's you got your hat on backwards. You're playing tennis. You have the San Pellegrino. You don't sign for things. You just write a number down. Yeah, my member number's 274, and you just get it at the end of the month. Food minimums, all that. That's where you are in life.
Nice, sound like my son.
Yes, that's where you are in life. You just write, number 284. Yes, sir.
I can't even spell tennis. By the way, though, did you watch the final? Because that kid is another super wonder.
Oh, at the U.S. Open?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I can get into it when it's high stakes. I can't get into it like through the bracket, but at the end I can.
Me too. Well, tell your son that we're going to get him a Riley Herbst something. Okay?
It's happening. He loves it. Big Ford guy, just like you, Riley Herbst, NASCAR driver.
Declan, we love you.
All right. I'll see you soon, Richard.